Welcome to Trenapesha YouTube channel, where learning math is easy and fun. I'm Andrew, and today we are learning one of the most important topics in primary 5 mathematics, and that is going to be fractions. Before I introduce the topic, there's a quick question here. If you have an apple and cut it into 8 pieces, and you eat 2 pieces, what fraction do you remain with? Yeah, for those who are not sure of the answer, don't worry, you are in the right lesson, and by the end of this, you should be able to know the answer. Let's dive into our topic today, and the topic we are doing is for primary 5 mathematics. Primary 5 math. And today we are handling fractions. Don't mind about the handwriting, because it is not the most important thing now. The most important thing is to understand the concept that I'm going to teach here. So let's dive into this topic, P5 mathematics. By now in P5, you already know fraction because you learned it in P4, P3, and those other classes. And you should be aware of the definition. So first things first, fraction can easily be defined as a part of a whole. Say you have an apple and you cut it into 2. What you have this side becomes a part of what is the other side, and this one is now a half of the main whole. Or still, this apple can be cut into other different pieces, and you will realize that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So this one, we put 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, and 1 out of 4 throughout, and we end up having a quarter. That is basically the definition and where the fraction comes from. Still, when we are handling this topic in primary 4, we learned about types of fractions. And by now, when you're in P5, you should be aware of this. The first type of fraction that we can talk about is the proper fractions. This one I'm going to be a bit fast because we are reviewing what we did in primary 4. So we have proper fraction. This is a type where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. For example, you can be given fraction like 2 out of 5. You can have maybe 4 out of 7, maybe 9 out of 20, and so on. You cannot complete them. We may go to another type, because this one, we are just reviewing what we learned in P4. Another type of fraction is improper fraction. Under improper fractions, you can say this is a type of a fraction where the numerator is the upper number, where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. For example, you can have 10 out of 7. You can have maybe 5 out of 2. You can have something like 20 out of 12, whatever case, and many more. These ones are improper fractions. Another type of fraction we can talk about, or what we learned already in P4, and we are now revising in P5, is mixed fraction. In most cases, this one is called mixed number, but children up to now still confuse it as mixed fractions, but we call it a mixed number. For example, what are the examples of mixed numbers? You can have 4 whole number, 1 out of 2, where this 4 is a whole number. And this side we have a proper fraction which has the numerator and the denominator. Another example of a mixed number can be maybe 10 whole number, 2 out of 5. This is the whole number part of it, and this is the numerator and the denominator. All these were learnt in P4, and in P5, we just go through them very fast. We can also talk about unity fractions. This one is not so many children are not so familiar with it, but it is a type of a fraction where the numerator, that is the upper number, is 1. For example, when you have 1 out of 2, 1 out of 5, you have 1 out of 11, all these are unity fractions. The numerator is 1. Then in this class, lastly, we can talk about equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are fractions that give the same value when reduced. What do I mean here? For example, I can say 1 out of 2 as a fraction, and the next equivalent to this one is 2 out of 4. When you reduce 2 out of 4, you come back to this one. This one still can give you 3 out of 6. Still, when you reduce here, you go back to the other first part. So these are the types of fractions that we can talk about now. But today in this lesson, we are going to base mainly on changing improper fractions to a mixed number. Changing improper fractions to a mixed number. Changing improper fractions to a mixed number. Jesus. Sorry about that. What do we do here, and what do I mean here? We already discussed these improper fractions as a type of fraction where the numerator is bigger than the denominator, and the mixed number as well, we said, is the one that consists of a whole number and a fraction. So in our question, if you're asked to convert a given number, for example, to change 11 out of 3 as a mixed number, how do you handle this question? Because it is a very common question in a primary 5 class. We are going to show the working here, and we see how to handle this number. The number given, the fraction given is 11 out of 3. This is an improper fraction. The numerator, which is the upper number, is bigger than the denominator. How do we change it to a mixed number? It is very simple. What we do here is to divide 11 by 3, and we get the result plus the remainder. And for this case, 11 divided by 3 will give you 3 with some remainder, and that remainder is 2. So when you are changing now this 11 out of 3, 11 out of 3 as a mixed number, you are going to end up with 3 whole number. Then the remainder is put up, divided by the number you have divided with, which was 3. And this is already your answer. 11 divided by 3, you get 3, remainder 2. So that one can be written as a mixed number as 3 whole number and 2 out of 3. I hope that is clear. I can get another number here. For example, you can have a number like 21 out of 6. 21 out of 6 as a mixed number. This is an improper fraction, but we can change it to a mixed number. The next thing here is dividing 21 by 6. What is the quotient and what is the remainder? Now, when you divide 21 by 6 correctly, you will have here 3 whole number and there is some remainder. So 3 times 6, that is 18. It means that the remainder is 3. So you go back to your original mixed numbers, 21 out of 6, giving you the answer which you have got here as 3 whole number, and the remainder is 3 out of 6. But still, this one can be reduced further, and is something that a child in P5 should learn. When you have a fraction like 3 out of 6, this can be still reduced because 3 can divide 6. So you divide by 3 one time and divide by 6, you will get here 2. So when you change this number, you try to reduce here, and the final answer will be 3 whole number, 1 out of 2. You've changed the number, the improper fraction, to a mixed number. Maybe as I come to the end of this video, I'll leave here one trial number for my online learners. It just says convert 16 out of 5 to a mixed number. So those who have been watching me, you try this number and you put the answer in the comment section. Thank you for watching. For now, we shall end here, and in our next video, we shall also learn how to convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction. Thank you.